So it's 2 a.m. You really want some beef jerky and you check the cabinets, there's none in the house. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna let the fact that only the shady stores are open at 2 a.m. scare you away from the beef jerky? No, because they got some of the best, right? So what are you gonna do? You've already got your EDC all from Mid-State EDC with you, but you gotta protect that bag, right? This is beef jerky we're talking about. Are you gonna trust it to just any old $9 Walmart knife? Nah, your beef jerky costs more than that. What do? You reach for the Shieldon Scythe by our homies over at DC Blades, and you know that bag is secure. You want to find out more about this knife? Stick around. What's up, Kripple Krew? EDC with DBD, disabled but deadly, and yes, we're going to be taking a look at another knife from the minds over at DCBlades.net. Before we look at that, though, I wanted to give a shout out to my homegirl, Blue Elephant Hanks. She makes some of my favorite Hanks, including my OG, my very first EDC Hank, the Carpe Diem Hank, though I thought this one suited the mood of today's knife a little bit better. I also want to give, she's linked below. Make sure you hit her up. Check out her Hank selection. Also, I want to give a shout out to my homeboy, BrianF, Mid-State EDC, and all the creators over at the EDC Roundtable. At the EDC Roundtable, you'll find items handmade here in the U.S. by members of our community. Whether you're looking at EDC awls or ferro rods from Mid-State EDC, leather work, or even beard balms created by people in our community, you can check out the EDC Roundtable, and I do have a 10% discount code. I believe it's DBD10. I'll put it on the screen, and it's in the links below. Just wanted to give those folks a shout out. Now, we're going to be looking at another knife from DC Blades, this time a Shieldon OEM knife. But first, make sure that you stab that like button for me. Check that you've already /subscribe, and make sure you've got bells turned on. Make sure you've hit that bell for notifications to be turned on, so that you don't miss anything. When I showed this knife, the DC Blade Cito, which is still available to me. I can't believe this, folks. They only made 120 of these. They're $225 for a Miguron OEM'd full titanium with micarta or carbon fiber inlay, titanium backspacer, titanium pocket clip. You've got a beautiful nano ceramic coating on that milled tie, and then a DLC coated compound ground Bowie style clip point blade in M390. This knife, all of their knives, their entire mindset is self-defense, beef jerky defense driven. This was their first EDC friendly, like true EDC knife that is also a fantastic beef jerky defender. And I can't believe you can still get some of these. Check out the DC Blade Cito. But I did say that they leaned a lot more into like aggressive self-defense knives. And that's what today's knife is, because we are going to be looking at the Shieldon Scythe XL RevTux edition. This is, I believe, the newest edition to come out. And there are actually quite a few knives in this Scythe line. It began as a 6-inch Pakal blade with a 2.5-inch blade on it. But the XL is its bigger brother. And what you are looking at with the Scythe XL is a total overall length of 7.08 inches with a handle length of just over 4 inches and a blade length coming in at 2.92 inches. We are only 3.33 ounces, and we have a blade stock thickness of 157 thousandths, which is a very thick blade stock thickness, but it's also very deceiving. As you can see, we have a very, very thin and pokey tip that we will talk about in a minute. I love that on the show side, all we see is the screw holding in the titanium filler tab for that reversible titanium pocket clip. I like the Shieldon pivot. I think that looks really good. Let's do a quick hardware check. We are T8s on the pivot. T8s on the steel insert for the steel lock bar insert. And T8 on the pocket clip. Just like on the... Yes, all the hardware is T8, just like on the DC Blade Ceto. You know, I prefer that because T6s are much more likely to strip when you take your knife apart. And T8s are just tougher. And you're dealing with knife people looking at all of the different details when you see stuff like that throughout. This pocket clip is done with the ceramic ball bearing, and it's made like this so that it slides in and out of the pocket very easily. As you can see, the ball itself is way past our lock bar relief cuts, meaning this pocket clip is meant to be able to come out of your pocket very smoothly without hanging up at all. This version is a titanium frame lock. However, there are budget versions available as well with G10 or Ultim, even with liner locks. And those have G10 backspacers and wire clips, but they're still ambidextrous. So you can get titanium or you can get budget versions of this knife. This is, of course, the more premium version in the frame lock. We are running on ceramic ball bearings and very, very nice action. It is easy to reverse flick off of that blade. They left a lot of blade for flicking. I might be able to, I don't know. I've never been as good at flicking off the blade with my thumb, but it is very, very easy to reverse flick this knife. However, this flipper, whether push button or flip using the flipper tab, when it breaks that detent, it's going to fly out and lock every time and be ready to go into the go position. Yes, this Grim Reaper looking blade, the Scythe, the Grim Reaper inspired blade, you could say, is meant for the Pikal grip, which is a reverse grip with the blade in, because it's made for ripping and slashing motions. And what this wicked hawkbill design does is it uses this very thin and pokey tip to grab any material and pull it into the rest of this blade. I'm going to see if I can demonstrate this under the camera very well. But as soon as, how can I hold this without getting myself? As soon as this tip bites, it's pulling deeper. Woo! Pulling, it wants to go right through. It's pulling deeper and deeper into the material. Not very easy for me to demonstrate. I need to figure out a setup for demonstrating that kind of stuff on video. Really, I need to figure out how to edit 2 videos together so that I can cut in some B-roll showing that ripping, slashing from a better angle. But again, as you can see, oh, here maybe that's better. It pulls deeper and deeper and deeper into that blade. I'm trying to go slow so I don't just rip right through, because it is sharp enough to rip right through. Now this DLC coating, DLC means diamond-like carbon coating, and it protects this blade. Anything that you'll see, any marks that you see on the blade are from the material that it passes through, and it will clean right back off. It's going to keep it looking better, but also this matte black DLC and these, you know, this like stealth gray titanium help keep it from being a flashy knife. You want it to be, if you have to use this knife, you'd prefer it to be a surprise to the person, or what shall we say, a surprise to the organic material it meets. And that matte black finish, there's nothing flashy on this knife. It's going to keep it, especially in a dark alley scenario, it's going to help keep it hidden until you want it seen. And that DLC coating is just going to make it so you're not going to get scratches on this blade that are going to, shine in the light and show off anything you don't want anybody to see. I guess that was a long-winded explanation of why the matte black DLC is great for a tactical style knife. S35VN is one of the OG super steels, CPM S35VN from Crucible. It's, it's been around for a while, and there's been flashier steels that have come out since, but that doesn't mean that S35 is not as good as it ever was. And it's going to get nice edge retention. It's going to be corrosion resistant, especially with this DLC. You're not going to have to worry about corrosion on this titanium and DLC knife. But it's also going to be tough enough to protect this very pokey tip until you need it. Now, is this going to be your everyday cutting knife? Could it be? Sure. You could do a lot of cutting tasks with this. It is actually pretty comfortable in this grip and it would open packages like crazy. However, it would bite and you would have to be careful to control that tip not to go deep. You can hold it in a forward grip. It's very comfortable with this jimping if you needed to use it like so. If, say, arms were around you and you needed to cut back towards you, it is very, very comfortable. But this isn't meant to be. My thing is all messed up, folks, from hitting it. I apologize. I wonder how bad that looked. I guess we shall find out. No edit, gang, right? It's meant to be ready to save your beef jerky when needed. So this is what I would consider a backup tactical knife. This would be, for me, probably on my left side in my left rear pocket, where a right hand carry is already set up properly for if you're going in the left rear, because this would be my left hand knife, because my right hand is already dedicated to something else. It is very comfortable to me in my left hand. That geared backspacer just really, really gives you a feeling that you're not going anywhere on this handle. But I would definitely choose to carry this with a more EDC-friendly blade shape and style as my main knife, and keep this as the backup ready to go in that 1 in a million chance I ever need it. Not only is it going to keep that edge sharp by not using it every day, but it's going to protect that thin, pokey tip. So a perfect pairing would be the DC Blade Ceto along with the DC Blade Scythe. And look at how beautiful these two look together. Let's move that over there. We got some dope looking knives here. This is definitely a knife that anybody can learn to use if you take the time and practice with it. It's a wicked and scary looking blade shape. But if you practice drawing it and you watch videos about picals, you can learn and how to draw the knife and deploy it and get it into the grip and ready to go comfortably and quickly. But I definitely would recommend practicing with this knife because it's not your typical blade shape. It's not going to be something that you're used to using. However, the nice thing about it, Pical, the one thing that I do want to bring out is that the grip and rip motion is very, very natural. That's why it is something that, though scary looking, it's not hard to figure out how to properly use it. Just make sure that you take a little time and practice so that you don't get yourself with that tip. I want to know what you guys think about the awesome Shieldon Scythe from our homies over at DC Blades. If you follow Tier 1 gear and EDC reviews and Old Squirrel knives, you definitely should. You know that this style is something that they're very passionate about. They do love their picals. And, oh, I also want to mention, I forgot to mention that I said that there is smaller versions of this. There is budget versions of this. There is also fully serrated versions. That is definitely not your daily use knife, but that's fully serrated Scythe XL is going to damage organic material in a way you can't even imagine. You will protect that bag. That's all I'm going to say. But let me know your thoughts on the Scythe. Would you grab this awesome, gorgeous premium version, which is running right now $161 at White Mountain Knives? So if you use discount code, I believe it's DVD at White Mountain Knives, I'll put it on the screen and it's in the links below. Save yourself 10%. Drops it down to like $145 for the reverse tux. That's the best price I have found yet for this version. I will link several versions of this below. The White Mountain Knife links are not affiliate links, but the discount code helps you. If there are Amazon links, they are affiliates. That does help me. Just giving you a heads up for so that I'm clear about that. But whether the Ultim version, a G10 version, or the full titanium, this is a very well designed knife that is going to do its intended task to a degree of extent you can't even picture until you've seen somebody use one of these properly. I hope everybody has a killer day. Stay safe, stay frosty, most importantly, stay deadly.